We wrote down about 8 or 9 or 10. We got to about 10 was the actual number today of my favorite things in sports, mine, not necessarily yours, that don't involve a game. So there's no particular order for these. These are just 10 things, Joy, I like that don't involve a game in sports.
Okay.
So the first one's the NBA draft lottery. So basically the teams that don't make the playoffs get in a lottery, ping pong balls, to determine the NBA draft order. Now, last year it got a huge number because 4.5 million people watched because of Zion and Ja Morant. And so you had like 2 absolute home run draft picks. I don't know if you get as high a number, but it should be noted last year, this next draft is really good. There's like 12 guys that can play. That's a huge number of highly touted players. 8 to 12 really good players. So I love the NBA draft lottery. Another one, I love this, NFL schedule release.
Yes.
I don't understand why people don't take this seriously. Folks, there's a reason multiple networks did 3-hour shows on this because the interest keeps ramping up. It's also the first 17-game schedule. There is no doubt in my mind that where you play people matters. You don't want to play Andy Reid in September. You'd rather go to Lambeau early than in December. You don't want to face cold weather teams in a blizzard. They have an advantage because they play in it.
When is your bye?
When is your bye? Do you have to go back-to-back West Coast? What times are the games? I love the NFL schedule release. The NFL draft. People forget this. 20 years ago, it was not a big deal. Okay, the last 3 have averaged over 6.5 million people, and also they're taking it to new cities, so they made it into a rock event. This is probably, well, it's not probably, the biggest non-game event in the country, I think.
Yeah.
And what they're doing in the NFL, they decided to get it out of New York, smart. Secondly, they've expanded it to days. And I think a lot of what makes the NFL fun is that the NFL is embracing college football, which I wish the NBA would do with college basketball. They're saying, listen, these Ohio State, Bama, Clemson, Michigan, Notre Dame fans, Oklahoma fans, they don't have to like our league. They watch us. We introduce them to our league for 3 and 4 days. I would say March Madness Selection Sunday. It's still one of the most bet sporting events in America. You know, it's funny about it. The lowest seed to ever make a championship game was an 8. So even though you know it's going to be dominated by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 seeds, even though 32 of the bids are automatic, so you know going into it, there is something about those bubble teams that pulls you in, and where does Georgetown have to go? And
you love seeing the kids celebrate.
It's great.
It's so fun.
It really is. And for a lot of these kids, you know, they grow up in an area, they go to that college, they don't do a lot of national travel. So to see a small Western college go all the way east is fun. How about the college football selection show? Now, it gets dinged a little because it's Alabama, Clemson, probably Ohio State, and Oklahoma. But, you know, it's funny. Years ago, you used to determine your college football. When anybody criticizes the playoff, I'm like, it used to be a poll. And then they used these goofy computers for years that nobody could figure out. The downs, they're going to expand this. So my guess is, Joy, this is going to get much bigger.
Yes.
So when you add 8 teams to this, and it's not going to get bigger because of the top 4. It's going to get bigger because of the bottom 4 and the at-large berth. So of all the things I'm mentioning, this will grow the fastest, the college football selection show. I would say opening of NFL free agency, which was not a thing 4 years ago. But the combination of young general managers willing to go for it. I mean, Joy and I said it this year. Last 2 years, NFL free agency has been better than NBA free agency. They have that 2-day negotiation period. What's funny is they pretend like it starts at a certain hour, but the minute you can do it, they announce all the deals, meaning they've been working on this stuff for like 48 hours before it happens. I would also say the NBA trade deadline. There's always more talk than actual trades. But last year's trade deadline, the Nuggets acquired Aaron Gordon, and the Heat got Victor Oladipo, who was hurt later. But in the history of the league, Drexler to the Rockets, Pau Gasol to the Lakers, Knicks got Carmelo, Ray Allen to the Sonics. Generally, you get about 1 or 2 moderate moves, not a lot of home runs, but it's still fun. I would say the Olympics opening ceremony, is probably globally easily the biggest of all of these. You know, your Parade of Nations. And by the way, it's a multi-million-dollar event. And for a lot of countries, Russia, China, it is an opportunity for them to show off, often criticize a communist country. They come in. It's very important to look good to the rest of the nation. So tens of millions of dollars. And these nations work on this for over a year. How about Conor McGregor press conferences? Okay, I know this is a new thing, but Nate Diaz and him got into a fight. You have to admit, he'll do something. I mean, he's ludicrous. The dress, he'll throw stuff, he'll taunt. Very good. He's got good whiskey, I'm told, too. I don't drink it. And obviously, National Signing Day, it's a dork fest. But I love college football National Signing Day. This has always been my thing, where the kids now put the hats up. And now most of them sign before this day. There's always about 15 really good players, and they put the 4 hats up, and the families around them, and everybody on the message board just freaking out, and they think they know, and they don't know. I love National Letter of Intent Day. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.